Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ethan Wright, and this piece is called Noose. Please leave all questions to the end of my presentation. Thank you. The concept of the American dream, in essence, ensures that through hard work, any American citizen can reach the pursuit of happiness. I mean, it's part of the Constitution, right? However, ironically, this notion paints a pity picture. However, the painful reality of it all is that the endless cycle of oppression revokes any form of American dream away from African Americans. As millions of people of color are thrown into cells unfairly and stripped of dignity and civil liberties, the system manufactures the next generation to fall in the same cyclical trap, profiting it off it all. As a black man, I've witnessed the anti-black agenda unfold right in front of my eyes. I've seen the effects of intergenerational poverty, the active voter suppression that targets minorities, and the blatant, systematic attack against black people. Oppression is a noose in which African Americans are left gasping for air and equal opportunities while clawing at the white-owned idea of the American dream. However, it doesn't exist. It is only a pipe dream meant to mirror the idea of equality. As the black community is systematically attacked, it leaves them without freedoms or rights. Then racism and racial profiling act as a roadblock to the pursuit of happiness. Finally, the reprehensible violence towards blacks leads to the complete and utter eradication and contradiction of the American dream. In America, there's this preconceived notion that blacks are considerably more dangerous than whites. According to the New York Civil Liberties Union, blacks account for 55% of all stop and frisk, whereas whites only account for 10%. Although stops and frisk may seem like a safety procedure for police, there is a huge difference between a safety procedure and racial profiling. The system has placed a black ball over our African Americans' heads to such an extent that a black person can commit the same crime as a white person and yet get a harsher punishment. In 2017, the National Drug Survey stated that 17 million whites said that they had a drug addiction, whereas only 4 million of black people reported that they had a drug addiction. However, a black person is 6 times more likely to get a drug charge more than a white person. Why is that? Once incarcerated, these victims of racial abuse are denied any support to face their drug problem, and once they're released, they slowly await for the next visit to the penitentiary. While privatized prisons gain a profit from those black heads. Not only does the system abandon and turn their backs around black people just for profit, they set up the next generation to fall in that same trap by neglecting schools with high poverty rates. The U.S. Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, stated, low-income students need extra support and resources to succeed. However, too many places have policies for assigning teachers and allocating resources that are not solving the problem, but perpetuating the problem. In a study conducted by the U.S. Department of Education, they also stated that 40% of low-income schools do not have a fair share of state and local funds. And this is a dangerous game that we're playing with our youth. They know the concept of the school to prison pipeline, and yet they only do it for the dollar. they do not find black education to have any value. So they stand by and let this happen. It's it's a dangerous game that they're playing. The link between low funding and future incarceration is uncanny. And once they have fallen into this trap, they will soon they will soon learn that the target on their back is serious. In 1938, Billie Holiday released the chilling song Strange Fruit, which accounts for the mass lynching of blacks. Although the times have changed, apparently. According to the New York Times, on February 26th, in 2020, this year, lynching became an official federal hate crime. Mr. Brooker, a House representative, stated, "Today brings us one step closer to finally reconciling with the dark chapter in our nation's history. This bill makes lynching a hate crime and describes it as a tool that is often carried out by multiple offenders, aka racists, and other groups other than isolated individuals, primarily targeting blacks." And yes, this is a monumental moment for American history. However, this one win cannot account for the tremendous violence that black people face on a daily basis. According to Berkeley law, police brutality is the use of unnecessarily power, force, verbal or verbal abuse to control civilians. Eric Gardner, Samuel Dubosi, Alton B. Sterling, Christian Taylor, and Freddie Gray. These were all unarmed victims that lost their lives to police brutality over an absurd assumption and primitive reasoning. These men, once they were searched, detained, otherwise put in body bags, it came to light that they had no weapons. They were innocent. These humans, these human lives were taken before their time because of their blackness, not because they were criminals. Philando Castile was gunned down in front of his 5-year-old because he was black. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time to open your eyes and rise up against the system that has our existence in a chokehold. We're screaming, "I can't breathe!" But the words won't form, so we must act. As HBU students, we enter classrooms that were built off the backs of fighters who challenged and worked against their oppressors. We need to channel that spirit that they had. We are living in a world where our existence is being threatened and we are being systematically erased through violence, through hatred, through prejudice. So it is our job to ensure that this does not happen to future generations. We must stick up. We must stand up and be the trailblazers, the freedom fighters for our race. If not, nobody else will. Thank you.